Well, there's a number of issues here in Northern Ireland around policing and justice that go to the very heart of democracy and what is democracy. Here in this country, thanks to the iniquitous Belfast Agreement, we are denied to the fundamental principles of democracy, which is the right to have an opposition and the right to vote a party out of government. Instead, we have mandatory coalition. That's a matter for another day, but it feeds in to the issues we're experiencing at the minute, which is in terms of political policing and the state entering into the political arena to try and keep this peace process and this sham agreement on track. I am aware that a case file exists for Mr Kelly, MLA for North Belfast, in terms of terrorist offences, historical terrorist offences, and I am led to believe that the officers, the ordinary police officers, have enough evidence to arrest, and they believe it would meet the evidence threshold to charge Mr Kelly with these offences. However, senior police are stalling this and are holding the officers back from doing their job. Now, why is this? Because it is a fundamental principle of justice, especially democratic justice here in the United Kingdom, that each and every person should be equally subject to the law and equally subject under the law, regardless of their political position or regardless of the inevitable political fallout that would come from arresting somebody such as a former IRA member who now holds a senior position in government. Now, with all this being said, it is a terrible indictment on the senior management of the PSNI that they now make policing decisions and decisions on the law about when the law does apply and when the law doesn't apply, depending on whether it's politically expedient. So what we effectively have now is ordinary police officers doing their job that they've been trained to do, pushing it up a line to say we've enough evidence, we've enough historical evidence to arrest this man, and the bosses and those above them saying, no, you can't. And when they ask why, they're told, you just can't. Now, we were told that we would have open, accountable and transparent policing here. That is not open, that is not transparent, because when did the PSNI get the legislative constitutional mandate to decide when the law does apply and when the law doesn't apply? And since when did one citizen have immunity from the law and another citizen doesn't? Now, I know there was issues around IRA members being given little slips in terms of this shameful Belfast Agreement, which pretty much granted them immunity, but that can't be. That cannot be allowed to happen. If Mr Kelly is guilty of terrorist offences, he should be pursued. Why are the PSNI not pursuing him? I'm at a loss to answer that question. Obviously, there will be a major political fallout, but it's not the PSNI's job to step into the political arena. It is not the job of justice. Same way as whenever the PSNI went in front of Judge Fiona Bagnall and asked her to place conditions upon me because I would be a disabling influence on the political status quo. And the judge quite rightly said, it is not my place, it is not the place of the courts, or it is not the place of the judiciary to try and manage society and to try and keep society ticking along the way that the state would like it to. That is undemocratic. And these are the avenues that the PSNI are now going down to try and appease their political masters. They shouldn't even have political masters. They should be independent and they should enforce the law regardless of who you are. You should all be subject to the same law. Now, the PPS have been stalling. Now, this is the offence Mr Kelly, I'm led to believe, was questioned about in terms of recently and jumping in front of a Land Rover, obstructing the police, and also he was clearly seen to be saying, come round here, stop, stand here, block a Land Rover. So he was encouraging others to commit offences. That's a clear offence under Section 46 of the Serious Crime Act 2007. He wasn't even questioned under the Serious Crime Act. No. Kid glove approach, they brought him in. Now, if I'd done that, if Jim Allister had done that, if Willie Thursday had done that, we would have been arrested and we would have been remanded in custody, as has been proven fact. Mr Kelly is brought in, he's sat down, probably has tea and buns, he's invited to the police station, and contrast that even with how Ruth Patterson was treated for a fictional Facebook comment. They didn't waste no time in going to pull her out of her place of work. unlike Mr Kelly, who was invited to come down for a quiet chat at the police station. So typically in magistrates' cases, they should be before the court in a charging decision within 2 to 3 months of a file being submitted. We are now 5 to 6 months on, and the PPS still have not made a decision on Mr Kelly. Why is this? Why are they stalling? And I sent them a strong email last week to ask them why they were stalling, and the evidence is clear. And as well as this, we have a number of people around Mr Kelly on the evening that he committed this offence who were punching the Land Rover, kicking the Land Rover, and effectively trying to smash their way in to get at the police officer. We've seen a man there banging the window and shouting obscenities at the police officer. Now, if you were a union flag protester and you'd done that, the PSNI would arrest you and they would stand up in court, and we know that the police can't be believed when they go to court because, as was shown last week by the statements that I put out, they have been guilty of perjury in terms of how they've treated union flag protesters when they have taken to the witness stand and told blatant barefaced lies. But that's another issue which the PSNI need to be and will be held accountable for. But if this man banging on the window, now, if a union flag protester or a Protestant done that, the police would stand up in court and they would say that he was trying to murder the police officer. Now that's the type of situation we're in. They would say he was trying to force his way in, and the police officer would stand up and say he feared for his life. The man, who is clearly seen on a lot of footage doing this, has not even been questioned. Contrast this with the 12th day of July. The amount of Protestants who have been arrested and put in jail for kicking out at a police Land Rover or kicking a police shield, whereas if you do it in a nationalist area, it's no problem. You can kick as many Land Rovers as you want, try and smash the windows down, the police won't take any action. So why are they not pursuing this man the same way as they have pursued Protestants? I don't understand this. Why is the public order team not putting out pictures, asking people to identify these individuals? It is absolutely, completely despicable. Now, on a side note, we have had the shock decision that ACC Judith Gillespie, the Deputy Chief Constable Judith Gillespie, is to step down in March. This has come out of the blue. Now, it would be shocking to think that senior management of the PSNI, on obviously a separate note, but it would be shocking to think that they may stall the arrest and charging of Mr Kelly for these historical offences in this historical case file, to avoid any conflict of interest that may arise. And I think if that is there, then the public have a right to know. And there's a lot of issues in our society at the minute, in terms of the courts as well, that the general public are being denied the right to know what is actually going on. And that is undemocratic, that is unaccountable, and it's not transparent. It goes down to even when judges issue super injunctions. Now, a super injunction, you're not even allowed to mention a super injunction or what it's about. But if somebody doesn't know, it is a fundamental principle of justice. If you do not know that a law is in force, then it stands to reason you cannot be charged with. It's a fundamental principle of the European Court of Human Rights and all through justice since time immemorial in the United Kingdom. The general public had to be reasonably aware that a law was in place, because how can you keep to a law which you don't know exists? So if a super injunction is ordered by the court, then how is the general public meant to know that is in existence? So if they receive a piece of information and they go and they talk about this, which is actually a super injunction, how can they be held criminally or civilly responsible? Because they didn't know it was in existence. Because there's no mechanism for the court telling you. It's undemocratic. So once again, we have issues where justice strays into the political arena as well. But I am looking forward to seeing how the PSNI handle this. And I want to say well done to the ordinary decent PSNI officers, many of whom I believe are actually ex-RUC officers, who unfortunately for them happened to miss out on patent. But have done a good job in compiling this case file and investigating historical terrorist offences that Mr Kelly has been involved in, and they haven't granted him immunity because of his political position or because it might upset Sinn Féin. They have compiled this case, and this case is ready to go. So let's see senior management of the PSNI giving it the go-ahead and stop stalling it for political expediency. And when it does happen, There's no use Sinn Féin jumping up and down. And of course, maybe it does shed some light on why Sinn Féin was so keen to get immunity for terrorists in the Haas talks, and why they're so keen to implement different procedures in the Haas talks, because maybe they hope it might stall the rest of people like Mr. Kelly or Martin McGuinness or Jerry Adams, who all seem to be immune. So if the police are going to go after Protestants, as they have done, and the HET certainly waged war on the Protestant community, let's see them doing it with the nationalist community. Everybody has to be equally subject to the law. It's a fundamental principle of justice. It's a fundamental principle of democracy. The PSNI are meant to uphold democracy and uphold law and uphold order. Let's see them actually go ahead and do it.